Everyone, welcome back to our mailbag. It's been a while since we've done one. Thank you so much to everyone who listened to our requests and sent in questions. Remember, if you don't send in questions, we can't do them. And we know you love these because we see the numbers, but questions are everything. So thanks to everyone who sent a question. This has been recorded just between two people who have got a history with Paris-Roubaix. And the first question sort of relates to that. It says, this is from Malcolm Nottingham on Instagram. And he says, in your careers, amateur and pro, what was the hardest single race you did physically and mentally, and why?
I would have to say there was two, and it dealt with the same conditions, being very cold and very wet. I think it was the 2000 Tour de France, one of the stages. I think Eric Decker wound up winning that stage from a breakaway. Andre Kivilev took that was when he took 20 or 25 minutes. I was so cold and miserable. I had a Pearl Izumi yellow rain jacket in the car. And I went back to the car. I asked Roger Leger for the rain jacket. I put it on. I was getting a little bit warmer. And then the race commissar comes up to me and says, you have to take off that rain jacket because it's yellow and you're not in the yellow jersey. And I was like, there's no way I'm taking this off. I'm going to freeze. But I did see their point. So I got one of our green Credit Agricole vests and put it over the top. So I just had basically yellow arm warmers. But I was so freaking cold and so miserable. And we were going so slow because how does a breakaway take 20 or 25 minutes anyway? The other one was when I knew it was time to retire. 2008, Tour of California from San Jose to San Luis Obispo. It, again, was very, very cold. It was back when the race was in February, and I was definitely second-guessing my decision to continue for one more year in order to win the Tour de France with you, Yenzi, Frank, Andy, Fabian, Stuart. I got talked into that over the off-season, and I was already regretting it on that stage of Tour of California, so much so that I went back to Bjarne Riis, who was our director, and it was so cold, he just lowered the window about 1 centimeter and stuck his eyeballs out. So I'm not sure if he heard me, but I said, and I'm paraphrasing to make sure that my nephew doesn't hear me curse on the podcast, Bjarne, what the heck am I doing here? And I finished the race, but right then and there, I knew my days in the peloton were limited. What about you, Yenzi? You have to have some doozies.
I would pick the same one like you, the second one of yours. I would pick that one as well because it was so cold. And just to make people better understand, our team, we were well placed in a GC. We were chasing the breakaway on a flat road, right? Chasing the breakaway on a flat road with the 39 chainring and the 16 to 17 sprocket. That is how much headwind we had. The stage was 220 kilometers. It took us about 8 hours. I could not feel my fingertips for 2 days. And everybody else, Cancellara or Cadel Evans, who was in that race, said the same thing. This was one of the most miserable days in my life. It was brutal. Straight south along the Pacific Coast Highway, so cold, block headwind. We went full gas on the front in the 39 chainring at 16 sprocket, like basically 28 kilometers an hour, racing flat out. All we had to chase the break. That tells you how bad it was. The other day was a stage probably Bobby remembers as well. In the Pyrenees, we finished on Plateau de Bay. I was in the break with Bjarne Riis' team, CSC, and Bjarne went, Jens, come on, keep going, keep going hard. Everybody's chasing. We will make everybody tired in the peloton. Your finish line is on the bottom of the Plateau de Bay, which is a 16, 17, 18 kilometer climb. Your finish line is at the bottom. You sprint into the bottom to make everybody chase you so hard. So I did. I sprinted absolutely in the red, right, into the Plateau de Bay, moved to the right, done. And then Bjarne comes up, goes, Jens, actually Bobby crashed. Somebody else is not feeling well. Somebody had a puncture. You are our third man for the team GC. Keep going. And Plateau de Bay is a vicious climb. It's a vicious, long, hard climb. So I went up there as good as I can because I have given everything. On the top, I but I fall into our team car. I said, no matter what happens, I'm not moving out of this car. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to ride down to the team bus. You can take care of whatever you want. I'm not getting out of this car. I was so tired, I wouldn't be able to steer my bike down the climb, freewheeling, not even pedaling, but it would not have been safe. I was so tired, I went so deep, I couldn't even see straight anymore. So I went in the team and said, you take care of this, but I'm not moving out. I'm not doing anything until I see the hotel.
Oh, man, I remember that day. I got to the base because I did crash. I broke my wrist, and I only got to the base of Plateau de Bay because of Kurt Asla Arvidsson dropping off the back of the Gruppetto along with Robbie McEwen to pace me back up to the Gruppetto. And I'm thinking, hey, we're 28 minutes behind already. Like, we're never going to make the time cut. And right at the base of the climb was the Team CSC bus. And if it wasn't an Olympic year and I wasn't selected for the Olympics, I think I would have just pulled the pin and just jumped into the bus. But luckily, due to those two and the rest of the guys in the Gruppetto, I did finish the race. I never knew that story, Yenzi, that you had to turn yourself inside out and then finish for Team GC. I mean, we did take that Team GC classman pretty serious at Team CSC, didn't we?
Yeah.
Was Bobby one of the riders that made you had to do it flat out because you'd fallen behind with your crash?
No,
Jens was trying to put me out of the time limit. That's what he was doing.
Bobby had enough trouble. But hey, I also give Bobby one of his best moments when he had, I think, another crash and he went through surgery. And the Danish ex-soldier and myself, B.S. Christensen, who was our team mental coach, bodyguard, all of it. He said, hey, Jens, you're his best friend. You got to come. We got to go and see him in the hospital. And I remember my hospital time said, look, we got to get some food because they are not prepared for him. He will wake up at midnight and he will be so hungry there's nobody there. We need food for him. So we went to McDonald's, get a few burgers. And Bobby was still under anesthetic, so he was still sleeping. So we left his clothes there, some, clean clothes where then he could change the next morning, and the food. And I remember how Bobby said, man, I woke up at night, I was sore everywhere, and I was so hungry. And then I could feel the smell of food, and I was so happy. My life was saved.
It was the coldest hamburger and the warmest Coca-Cola and French fries, or warmest Coca-Cola and cold French fries of my life. But it was my best meal because when you're that hungry and coming out of anesthesia and they tell you that the cafeteria is closed, oh, Yenzi, I owe you guys for that one still.
Did you think they'd just sort of apparated these burgers because like you were under anesthetic? Did you know where they'd come from?
No, but when I saw that it was a takeout to-go bag from McDonald's, I knew that Yenzi had done that for me, or some of my teammates had done that for me, because it's not like the French nurses would have ran to McDo, as they call it over in France, and done something like that for me. But it was probably 800 of the best calories of my life.
Okay, on to our next question, and this one relates to weather. Again, you spoke about some extreme weather. My question is about the use of sunblock amongst professional cyclists. There's so much sun exposure and so much exposed skin. Do cyclists routinely use sunblock? And that's from Mary Hope Schoenfield on Instagram.
Yes, we do, especially when we go to Down Under. We come out of the European winter. We are white as snow. And go into 40 degrees in Adelaide, Southern Australia. It's always warm there. Yeah, you do use the highest possible 50 plus sunblock. After 2 hours of training, you refresh it. And a funny story, after the Tour de France, right? Back home, I'm with the kids in the public pool, right? From the old Olympic stadium in 36, it's now a public pool. And I was super skinny, right? And because it was so hot, we also shaved our arms, not just the legs, but the arms. So I was skinny, had these big veins on my arms because I was so skinny. And I had the cycling stripes, right? Underneath that, I had the bibs over my shoulders burned into my skin, and the third burn mark was the heart rate belt that had a different color. So I had 3 different colors of brown, very brown, white, plus the cycling stripes. And I'd be at the ice cream shop with my kids, and there were 3 little boys behind me, and they just looked at me, and I could hear them talking. And I said, "Hey, kids, do I look stupid?" And the kids looked at me like with their eyes wide open. In all honesty, yes, sir. hey, I appreciate your honesty. What sort of ice you want? So I bought him a few ice creams, and my kids were just giggling because I looked so funny. So yes, we do get sunburned in all different colors and variations. Through the jersey with the heart rate belt on, your gloves, your glasses,
your helmet strap.
Helmet strap, big one. But yeah, we do use sunblocker, and also in the Tour de France we still use it, especially for our bags. Normally we use alcohol base because it gets quicker absorbed by the body. It doesn't, you don't sweat it out again like the one that's oily or more creamy.
Yeah, I was bad. Yenzi definitely was better at putting sunscreen on. And to those of you that know Yenzi, imagine him, his second or third espresso in right before the race, and then him lathering. I remember you used to do your ears too. Like you do your nose and your ears, but he was like shaking. So he'd be like kind of spazzing out doing it, and then like put his helmet on and go. I was not as good, and that's why skin issues on my face. I felt that it made me feel blocked, so I never put it on my legs. And only in retirement, when I'm doing Grand Fondos, I'll put it on my legs, and I can feel it. It feels like my legs are blocked a little bit. So I definitely wasn't as good, but I think I have some natural pigmentation that doesn't keep me from getting burned so bad. But the funniest story I remember about the tan lines, because Jens said it perfectly. I mean, we look like super freaks, and you go to the beach after the tour, and people are just laughing at you. But I was traveling to the Olympic trials. This was in 1996, and back then we had gloves from Giordana that used to have the little Velcro strap, so there was like a little hole on your wrist. And I walk in, and I'm getting to my seat, and there's a lady sitting. I think I'm in the window seat. She's in the middle seat. And she looks at my hands and goes, "Oh, are you a golfer?" Oh. And I'm like, "What?" And I kind of thought maybe she goes, "Yeah, the tan line on your hand looks like you're a golfer." And I was just like, "Man, I wish I was a golfer. I'm a freaking cyclist out here baking in the sun the whole time and staying at Motel 6 when those guys are staying at Four Seasons Cliff."
Amazing. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is from Ross Fluell Smith on Instagram, and he said, "Hi guys, why do you think road cycling races are so popular? Almost no sports run for more than 90 or 120 minutes. Multi-day races only match up with test cricket in terms of hours and days, while mountain biking and crit races aren't as popular, yet have much more action. Why do you think that is?"
You want to start, Bobby?
Yeah, I'll give it a shot. It's something to do. You know, like the Tour de France, you got to see it from start to finish. And yes, some stages are 6, 7, 8 hours. I mean, nowadays the riders are racing so fast that those stages are getting less and less long. But I don't know. It's just the atmosphere with criteriums. You know, they don't have the same kind of camera feeds. Gravel racing, they don't have the same kind of camera feeds. Mountain biking is getting really good, and cyclocross with the drone stuff. So I don't know, but to the real cycling fan out there, and I put myself in that category, especially during the Tour de France, I get up, I turn it on, I'm watching it from kilometer 0 all the way to the end. And yeah, it's long, but it doesn't feel long. NFL football games are 3 hours. They just in Major League Baseball, they put in the timer so that the games would become shorter because people just didn't want to hang out in a ballpark that long. But I guess if you're just watching it from your house and you got your computer on your lap or your dog's down by your feet, you can just sit there and take out pretty much most of the month of July and watch the Tour de France. I even have friends that are at work getting no work done whatsoever because they have the Tour de France streaming on their phone or their iPad or the TV in their office. But I just think that it's something that you feel like you don't want to miss anything. And, with these streaming services now, if you miss something, you can go back, see what you missed, and then go live again. But, that's only relatively new that you can do things like that.
I would take a more romantic approach to this. I think it's simply because it's a blue-collar sport. It's a working person sport. Back then, people did cycling instead of working in a coal mine. He said, F that, working in a coal mine? I'd rather go and ride my bike for thousands of kilometers all across France. We don't charge an entrance fee. And every TV viewer probably has been at least once in his life along the roadside, made new friends. Now that I'm retired, I have a little more time to experience the spectators as well. And I love how then there's the German, you go, hey, we got a few more beers. The American, hey, I got a burger, we can share. And the Belgians come, hey, and I have this. And the Dutchies come, hey, I have this. Let's share all this together. And then people have never seen themselves. They live thousands of kilometers away, become really close friends in this one special moment. That's what makes our sport so good. And also, I believe it is sometimes the tactics and strategy is super, super complicated. But apart from that, our sport is so brutally honest and simple. Cross the white line first and you won. Doesn't matter if you work before or don't. Cross that white line first. Everybody understands that. And people also, I believe, they are simply blown away of how tough of a cookie a cyclist is. I mean, sometimes you see them. Didn't he crash yesterday? He crashed today again? Both elbows bleeding. Both knees are bleeding. And the guy goes, no, I'm fine. Let me go back on the bike. Normal people go, holy smokes, these people are insane. I think it puts their view on us on a different level. You go, they are insane. They race for like 250 hours all across France in 3 weeks' time. This is just nuts. I think it's basically the overwhelming size of the challenge of a Grand Tour. People go, this is insane. I have to see this.
Yeah. And so many people ride a bike and enjoy riding bikes. Not everyone plays basketball, baseball, professional football. So I think there's that ability to relate to what's going on, the drama. And then, especially over here in the States, well, actually, you know what? Every commentator nowadays on all the different networks, you actually learn a lot about the country, the roadside that you're going through. I love the shots of the castles. I love the explanations of, why that town was built there, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like going on vacation with educational element as well as that adrenaline element when the race does absolutely heat up. But I'm getting to that point where at least I have to have my computer on my lap because I need to get work done. But 20 stages out of 21, I am watching it from start to finish.
Yeah, and as someone once said, you can play tennis, but you can't play it at Wimbledon. You can play football, but you can't play it at Wembley. But you can ride outdoors on a bike, and there's something amazing about that. This one comes from Jim via Patreon. Thank you for supporting us there. Hi, you've both shared stories of adjusting after retiring, and retired guests have also spoken about this. What about the spouse or partner? I'm sure they have stories of their well-informed routine being disrupted by having you around all the time.
Yeah, there's a perfect example. My wife and me, our little getaway is breakfast in town. The kids are in school and university, so they're safe and busy. And then at 9:30, 10ish, we go either on bike or on a car, go to have a coffee and whatever, a little sandwich together. And one of these days in my last season, we stop at a red light in the car, my wife and we look at each other, and honestly, almost simultaneously, we go, hey, when I retire, I think it's still good if I still travel a little bit. From travel that much to zero, that wouldn't be good for us. My wife said, yeah, I actually was about to say the same thing. So we're still good, we're still together. But yes, it is a change for the wife as well. I mean, suddenly you're home and you go, hey, why don't we put the towels on this side? And then your wife goes, no, honey, the towels have been the last 20 years on this side. So just keep them there. It's good. You disrupt. On a smaller scale, you feel it already when you come home after the Tour de France. 3 weeks, you be gone. And you come back home, you go, what was she? Did she like the strawberry jam or was she the one with the Nutella? You still have to go back into it, and it takes a bit of training. And very important, tolerance on a bit of a long line from both sides. Both sides. Not just your wife towards you, but also you towards your wife.
Yeah, my wife has been there through thick and thin. She's seen me succeed on TV and seen me wind up in an ambulance. So I don't think she was too bummed out. But one thing that I noticed is, due to the fact that I wasn't traveling as much, I started to pay attention to the volume and frequency of FedEx and UPS packages that would arrive on our doorstep, Amazon. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait a second, this must happen when I'm gone as well. But you see your wife with a new purse or a new pair of shoes or a new set of sunglasses, and you always ask her, oh, are those new? They never say, no, I've had these forever. But now...
Or they were on sale. That's the other one. Yeah. They were on sale.
That goes without saying. Right? But the other adjustment that I thought was pretty funny, and I got reminded of this recently, when my wife met me, from day one, I had shaved legs. And maybe from time to time in the off season, I would have a little bit of hair on my legs. But then when I retired, I didn't need to shave my legs at all. Until one day she was just like, you know what? You need to shave your legs because I feel like you are guilty of a little bit of false advertising. I don't like hair on your legs. I think you need to go shave them. And this whole winter here in South Carolina has been kind of crappy. And I realized when it got a little better and I took my leg warmers off and I looked down, I was just like, whoa. And I walked back from the ride and I said, I think I should shave my legs. She goes, yes, absolutely. So yeah, that was those were two of the biggest things. And then, just with helping out with the kids and being there, that was super important to me, and watching them grow up, going through the trials and tribulations of high school. I'm glad that I got to experience that for the most part.
And also, just a little add on. Also, it was a adaptation process for the kids. I mean, when then I be more home, I said, yeah, honey, I take care of this. I can do this. And then if I would be somewhere with the kids would go, Dad, are you sure? Should we call Mom? Dad, should we call Mom? Even though one time they wanted to buy one of these Playmobil Star Wars little toy boxes, where you put them together. And the kids looked at me. I mean, we are traditional one-income household, right? From my professional career. The kids looked at me with their innocent eyes. Dad, are you sure you have enough money, or should we ask Mom? So also for the kids, it was quite a process to learn that, hey, actually we can trust Dad. Dad knows our names, and Dad knows how to drive the car. Dad knows where the school is.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Stephanie Palmer on Instagram sent this in. It's sort of a counter to one of the ones we had earlier. What's your favourite ride that you've done that wasn't a race or training? Could be a sportif or just a ride for fun. And why was it so great?
Ooh, that's an easy one for me. Climbing Mount Lemmon in Tucson, Arizona. We get to do it during the L Tour of Tucson prologue camp every year. And it's just the highlight of my year. And Yenzi, you came out there and we got to climb it together. And, it was a little bit windy, and we were with some clients, some campers that wanted maybe to keep their powder dry for the event over the weekend. And I said, Yenzi, I need to show you the top here. And we got up to the top. There was snow on the road. We almost turned around, and I said, Yenzi, shut up legs, let's keep going. And we got to the top, and we took this funny picture and this funny video that I'll keep forever. But it's just a very unique climb. And I've always liked climbs, but this one is quite special because you go from the desert valley floor through all the giant saguaro cactus, and every 1,000 feet, there's a sign, an elevation sign telling you, okay, 3,000 feet, 4,000 feet, 5,000 feet, all the way up to like 9,000 feet. And you're going through these little microclimates and vegetation changes, but the road is basically the same exact percentage, except for what those last K or 2K were a little bit steeper, but it's very doable. And you really feel like you accomplished something, because I think if you go to the tippy top, which is the observation deck or the observation towers or the observatory, I guess is the proper term, I think it's 26 miles straight of climbing. You have like a little two mile little bow, a little tiny descent that you have to deal with when you're going back. But it is just phenomenal. And you start in the saguaro cactus and you end in the aspen trees. And all those smells and all those sights, it just hits me. So I'd have to say for sure that's my favorite ride that wasn't a race.
And from the top we could see, I believe, the Mexican border, and I believe almost the Pacific Ocean on the coast, right? Like the
no,
view
we're
from
a
the
little
top.
bit too far in to see any water, but yeah.
I know. I try to make the story better. So I guess my best ride probably was one time it was in Australia in Victoria, state of Victoria, riding into Melbourne with the To the Cure, like a cancer charity bike ride, about a week long. And we came past the coast highway, and there is a formation of rocks out in the sea called the 12 Apostle. And they timed the ride in a way that the sunlight was just perfect. And even, and retired grown-up man, even I went, oh, it was just the perfect postcard shot. 12 Apostle in the south of Australia. And also the ride, it's a cancer charity, so you have people, they ride next to you and they tell you, 5 years ago they told me I have 5 months and I'm still here. But then also I did it 5 times. In years, we have people, they are not there anymore next year because they don't make it, and everything in between. So it's the happiness of people making it, and the drama. People tell you, oh yeah, just last week or last month or last year I lost my brother, my wife, my child, my grandpa to cancer. So you feel you do something good, and it's also enjoyable on the side.
Wow, that's an incredible story. And that does bring us to the end of this mailbag. Thank you to everyone who sent a message. Of course, if you want to send one in for our next one, we'll make them as frequently as you send questions. So you can send them to @OddTandem, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, or if you want to send us an email, it's oddtandem@shockgiraffe.com. All the information will be down there. So until next time, bye.